What's going on, everybody? Josh Armijo here. Hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an album review to do for you, and I'm going to show it to you right now. This is the new album from the band Cardiac Arrest entitled Vortex of Violence. This is released on Ibex Moon Records. Now, if you're not too familiar with Cardiac Arrest, they're based out of Chicago, Illinois, and the best way to describe their sound would be a very, very grimy, filthy, old school style of death metal. I mean, if you want to harken back to older bands such as Autopsy or Repulsion, you would have the vibe and the feeling that is Cardiac Arrest. I got introduced to this band a couple of years ago by way of their 2010 album Haven for the Insane. I thought that album was just absolute perfection. Just the way the music sounded, just the evil growls, the sick guitar riffs, the the craziness of the drums and the blast beats, just insane music. I mean, such a perfect album title. And because of that, it gave me more of an interest in knowing what this band was about. So, with that being said, their older material, More Mutilations and Cadaverous Presence, really showed me how much this band has evolved throughout the years. And seeing them live last year only further cemented my respect for this band and all that they do. They really represent a really, really deep, awesome metal scene that is in Illinois. I mean, bands like Cyanide, Macabre, um, I know Impetigo was from Illinois. Um, there's probably about 5 or 10 other great bands that I'm missing, but those are the only ones that are coming to mind for me right now. Um, but with Vortex of Violence, I had some pretty high expectations for this one. I was wondering what their next potential step was going to be in their sound. It's 11 tracks and it runs about 47 and a half minutes long. It might seem like a long album length, but honestly, every single song that's on here moves quickly at a rather really solid pace. I'm absolutely loving the way that the the pace of this album is, the way that it just moves along. But pace aside, let's get right down to the nitty-gritty of things. Let's talk about the music. Guitar-wise, it's your usual Cardiac Arrest guitar. Very, very riff heavy. A lot of memorable, solid riffs. The solos are just absolutely chaotic and frantic. Wouldn't want them to sound any other way than the way they sound here, and they sound absolutely amazing. It's just awesome to listen to. Even the two guitars merged together to make one really, really amazing sound. It's just fantastic. I'm loving the way that they're played and how memorable it is. These are riffs that'll stay stuck in your head. Um, Bass wise, it's a very, very good bass tone. Very, very dirty, very dingy. It's audible and clear. Excuse me. Um, it blends in very, very well with the mix. It's very, very awesome. I'm loving the way that it sounds. Um, Drum wise, the drums are absolutely amazing. What I loved about Haven for the Insane, the way the drums sounded on the album, was the fact that they had this almost unclean, unpolished quality to them. I mean, the double bass sounded very, very rickety, but I absolutely loved that about it. I just loved the way that the cymbals crashed. I loved the way that the toms and the snares sounded. But here, it seems to be a lot more cleaner. I don't want to call it a clean sounding drum performance, but the drums sound a lot better. But it's still as gritty and as destructive as it was on the previous album. If I'm not mistaken, this they have a new drummer, but the previous drummer from the last album played on this album, and really he just shows you how great he is. I'm just loving the way that the drum rolls sound on here. I'm loving the blast beats. I'm loving the snare. The tom and bass drums just sound perfect. I'm loving the way that the cymbals sound. Everything is mic'd perfectly. Everything is played very, very well. I absolutely enjoy everything about this drum performance. It's just very, very authentic and respectful. Um, and the vocals are always a plus with me. I love the cardiac arrest vocal style. You have your low guttural kind of vocal to a more mid-range, high kind of growl to the more depraved kind of yelling. It works very, very well. You can definitely understand the craziness and the vibes that are going in the vocals. It's just very, very sick and disgusting. I love it. I love it a lot. And really, the fact that this band has so much respect for where they came from and the old school mentalities and vibes throughout this album is just absolutely amazing. I mean, take the track Depths of Despair. I mean, I'm hearing a lot of Autopsy influence on that song. Back to maybe, let's say, Severed Survival and Mental Funeral. Just that slow, dingy, nasty vibe and flow throughout. It just sounds authentic and it sounds amazing. Death metal does not get any better than this in 2012. And really, this really is another contender for album of the year in my view. This is absolutely mandatory death metal. I love the way that the music sounds. I love the ebb and flow of everything. I'm loving the vocals, the way that the drums sound. The guitar riffs, the solos just sound as chaotic and as frantic as ever. The bass is amazing. I absolutely love everything about this album. And if you are a death metal fan, if you're somebody that has a vibe for the old school, you will definitely love this album. Cardiac Arrest are amazing, and I urge you to support this band 100%. Out of the 11 tracks, some of my favorites include Portal of the Damned, To Their Graves, Conjured Beings is just amazing. Primitive Lunacy, that's an amazing song, and Depths of Despair. This is a fantastic album, and it is definitely one of the best of this year. So I'm going to show you again. This is Vortex of Violence by Cardiac Arrest. This is released on Ibex Moon Records. Buy this now. Buy this however you're able to. Go see them live if you're able to. They kick ass. And as far as what I can score it, I want to give it a 10 so bad, but I just can't right now. So until the time is right, I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. This is definitely another album of the year contender, and this is absolutely fantastic death metal. It doesn't get any better than this. Support Cardiac Arrest. I'm going to conclude this review. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel, and until the next time, Armijo out.